Hi, this is Mary Petruzzi with Team Petruzzi, your certified senior real estate specialist. I am joined today with Jenny Rozelle with Indiana Estate and Elder Law.
Yes.
Jenny, thank you, for doing this with me. I want to put together some sort of just a little short video about what people need to consider as senior citizens, whether it be themselves, the senior citizens, or the children who are looking after their parents. So I am going to be completely honest with you that as a senior citizen myself, I have no idea what I need to be thinking of, what I need to be considering, what does what do my children need to know, and how do they need to be prepared to step in if I become, incapacitated and so forth. So what kind of things do I need to start looking at or considering now?
Yes, so that's a wonderful question, and I think the hardest part of that question is actually everyone is so different, right? Every family that I work with, every client I work with comes with different family setups. They come with different assets. They come with different asset values and types. That there's really truly, and there should not be a one-size-fits-all kind of estate planning mechanism for someone. And so I often tell people that one of the first steps that you can take is really just educating yourself. Looking at videos, YouTube videos online. There's a lot of individuals in my field that do educational events. So providing great educational tools to support people as they navigate what options are out there. Another thing I would add is a lot of attorneys, ourselves included, we offer free initial consultations.
Oh, wonderful.
And so that would be a really great starting place to really just dive into what options are out there. And some of my clients bring their kids with their meetings.
All right.
Some don't, especially if there's some conversations that need to happen that are kind of elephant in the room conversations, which happen more than I think a lot of people think, but they're very important to bring up, especially in my field. I need to know about those sort of things. And so, I always encourage people to start the conversation. If you don't start it, if you don't get an estate plan in place, then it's often your kids or someone picking up the baton at some point and probably spending way more time, energy, and cost cleaning up, from what you didn't do. So I think the tools out there are really just educating yourself and, really taking that first initial step and possibly scheduling a meeting.
So for a meeting, what kind of information do you typically want to have, from like someone like myself?
Yeah.
What kind of things do I need to bring to the meeting?
Yeah, more is more.
Okay.
Less is not more in my world. And so we actually have a form that really guides me through that initial meering.
Okay.
It's a form that the client fills out that is all about you, and if you have a spouse, and there's an area for the kids and their information with a place that you can write in any concerns or potential issues. So think things like, sadly, I deal with a lot of individuals that have children or beneficiaries with addiction issues, or aren't very good with money, or maybe we don't like our in-law, something like that we just have to have those elephant in the room conversations about, as well as assets and how those assets are owned specifically. Is there one person's name on there? Are there two? Is it you and your spouse, or you and your child? What beneficiaries? So that's what I mean by more is more. I am never going to take, I'm not ever going to turn away information for sure, but just because that really equips me to give good advice.
Okay, so all your assets, your bank statements, all those things. If their parents aren't able to actually, if they don't know enough, what kind of resources do they have to gather the information for you?
Yeah. My first question would be, if we assume it's a mom and a dad and a child, if mom and dad are incapable, so think like mom and dad may have some sort of dementia diagnosis.
Okay.
If they are incapable of making those sort of decisions, that's when I really need to be meeting or talking with the power of attorney, which is a document that often someone like me advocates for people doing. But a lot of times clients don't have those. We shout from the rooftops to get these documents in place, and it's not lost on me that a lot of people don't do these documents. And so there are still tools, there's still resources out there to get someone legally appointed to help make decisions for someone if they're unable to. But let's pretend mom and dad don't have a dementia, have some sort of cognitive impairment. Maybe they're fine and dandy, but they're just a little scared to come to the lawyer's office.
Right.
That's another really big advantage of a free initial meeting, a free initial consultation, just to be able to gather, like a little squirrel and nuts, just be able to gather the information, the tools, the options, so that they can bring to their parents. And I find it's always helpful to have mom and dad in the room, just because I think a lot of times people, when they hear that lawyer word, it scares them. But then when they meet someone like me, they're like, oh, she's not too bad. She's actually kind of fun.
Yes.
And I actually hear from clients all the time towards the end of their process. They're like, Jenny, you somehow made this process fun.
Which it should be.
Yes. And so I think it really just depends on whether the person that we're going to be talking about is capable, and whether they are or aren't. There's still tools out there for the kids.
Okay. So, in a nutshell, why is it important to meet with you or somebody for estate planning?
Oh my goodness, I have a lot of horror stories. I have a lot of horror stories when people fail to do planning. And I often tell people that when you fail to do planning, someone eventually has to step up and kind of clean up the mess, pick up the pieces, put the puzzle together. And they're often doing it in a time where emotions are already high.
Yes.
And they're doing it from that place and having to meet with this lawyer who's, costing them. It just kind of adds sort of this
stress.
This like unnecessary level of stress, where had you just had these documents to support them in this situation, it's just such a nice fluid handoff where it's, my kiddo's the one in charge now.
Right.
And so, I think I would answer that just from a place of, I could spend lots of time on this video telling people about horror stories that I have clients all the time that tell me I should write a book about all the things I've seen. And for anyone, that's interested in learning about some of this stuff, I actually started a podcast.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, tell us about your podcast.
Yes.
How can we find it?
Yeah,
Where
it's Legal Tea, T-E-A, Legal Tea, and it's on basically every podcast platform out there.
That's wonderful.
And I dive into a couple things. I dive into celebrity estate planning, which they're notoriously awful at estate planning. And then the other big thing I talk about are what I call cautionary tales. So these are the horror stories I'm talking about.
Gosh.
So things that I've seen, worked on, that are real life stories that I've worked on, that are these horror stories. And so it's a
wonderful.
Great, yes.
That's really good. I think I may have to listen to it.
Yes. And they're great. They're about 15 minutes each. So they're nice. They're like a nice car ride.
Right, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. So, Jenny, how do people reach out to you to contact you?
Yes. So we have offices in Fishers, Rockville, and Wabash, Indiana.
Okay.
Fishers is kind of the main hub. So I'm going to give you that phone number. It's 317-863-2030.
Okay.
But we have an awesome website, and it's indianaestateelderlaw.com.
Wonderful. Well, thank you again for meeting with me and helping people understand the importance of doing this for themselves or for their parents.
Absolutely.
And just to start sooner than later.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. Well, thanks again, Jenny.
You're welcome. Thank you for asking me.
Okay.
Yay! Woohoo! Yeah, you can tell I've
One and done.
One and done.